NFTs collapse. Oh, for sure. Well, NFTs collapse in 2022. Yes. So the word collapse here is referring to hype and market value and mania. So let me give you two things that are going to collapse in 2022 with blockchain and NFTs in general, because in my opinion, blockchains are NFTs. There's nothing else in blockchain except NFT. Here's two trends to look out for. One, a lot of the media coverage that we achieved as a community in 2021 was based on the growth. And so there was a crescendo of things getting crazier and crazier, and then the news picking it up and picking it up. It was a self-fulfilling destiny. So as the news was coming, it was making people watch, and as the people were watching, there were higher bid prices on people or different things like that. We've had 10x growth or 100x growth every year in this market. And last year, we reached the point where there was more liquidity on the NFT artwork than there was for the rest of the entire Earth's art combined. And by, maybe not combined, the largest second place art marketplace. So we're comparing OpenSea liquidity versus Christie's. OpenSea is an art auction house. Christie's is an art auction house in Sotheby's. So I'm not sure if Sotheby's or Christie's is larger, but OpenSea was larger than both of them for at least a minute and maybe a little longer. Okay, so if OpenSea is going to have another 10 or 100x growth, then that means that the entire artwork of the humankind is going to, is 2022 going to be the year that the humankind increases the value of artwork by 100x? Probably not. What I need right now is a stat graph of market liquidity and then the new entrant, OpenSea, coming in. So what I'm trying to say is that OpenSea is stealing some of the liquidity from these other artwork markets, barely, and the artwork market is growing as a whole, but the market is so large that it can't grow 10x, can't grow 100x. I keep newspaper clippings, the front page of, Wall Street Journal, the whole front page was people. The last time I saw that was the moon landing, where they had the whole front page was one thing. There's a couple things on like human history where the whole front page of the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal has been one thing. And we got that last year. So for us to achieve that level of growth again, they would need the front page of the newspaper to like fold out like a Playboy, and like the front page would have to be 10 pages long or 100 pages long. It's not going to happen, right? So in general, I'm saying that the growth is not going to sustain where we are. The growth level is not going to sustain. Therefore, because the growth level is not sustaining, therefore, you will not have the same level of media coverage. Because we don't have 10 front pages of the New York Times, we don't have one front page of the New York Times because it's no longer newsworthy. Artists like people and artists like other artists have come in. They've come in with this much reputation, and then they went to sell this much. That's the low-hanging fruit. The people that are coming in that are enthusiasts, these are, people that are going to adopt new technology, artists, digital native artists. These people came in with very little sales history. And so they went from selling nothing to selling millions. So that's like infinite growth. In the future, for this year, and mostly next year, this is kind of an off year, but I'm predicting for next year this is going to happen, where you're going to watch the Super Bowl, and instead of seeing all these stupid crypto ads where like, we don't know why you're selling this, but you should buy it. It's the dumbest Super Bowl ads. Did you see the Super Bowl? What did you think? The Super Bowl ads were so dumb. It's like they had zero value proposition, and they were so afraid to say anything. Why? Because they're afraid that they're going to get sued by the SEC or like whatever for making any type of a claim. So they're just like, we literally have nothing to say. Here's a QR code. Buy. Or they had, what's his name from Seinfeld, and they had him on there. Oh, I didn't invest in the wheel. I'm old. I don't invest in new things. Like, how dumb is that? Like, buy Bitcoin because you're not old. Like, it was so dumb. Next year, I think, is when we will start to see NFTs actually in the Super Bowl. Now, sorry, the bigger picture here was this multiplier. So people coming in selling this much and now selling this much, that's huge. And there's a lot of opportunity for whales. Whales can come in, they can see people, they can recognize the talent, right? So they buy at 1,000, and then they sold 1 million, or they sold 70 million, right? So what's going to happen in the future? Well, all of the people that got in early, they got in. They're in. So we're still early, but we're not the first anymore. Right. So who's coming in next? Well, the people that are coming next, they were still getting ready in 2018, 2019. It takes some years to get in. Reese Witherspoon's already selling her book. She's already making money. When she sells NFTs and makes millions of dollars, she's going from millions of dollars to more millions of dollars, versus some of the current artists are going from making nothing to making millions. What's that mean? What it means is that when Reese Witherspoon sells her NFTs, there's going to be an auction, and there's going to be a high value from the start. So you're going to get in at a high price. The first buyers, they're going to be buying at premium prices. And the whales, they're not going to be whales. Reese Witherspoon doesn't need whales to offload her NFTs. So when she's selling her stuff, and you're buying it, and if you're successful in flipping it, and there's going to be a lot of people that lose money on these NFTs, but if you're successful, you're going to be targeting 50% growth, 100% growth, 10% growth, something like that. It's like scalping a ticket, which is totally different level of growth versus identifying a new artist. And like CryptoPunks, they literally gave them away. Like they were free. You just click get them, click get. And now they're selling for what they're, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's $1 million X return. Reese Witherspoon, you're not going to make $1 million X return. So I just wanted to say that, if for you, Bruno, if not making $1 million X return and only making a 1X return, or stated differently, a 1 million X reduction in favorable returns, in the ways that ICOs collapsed, I don't think NFTs are going to collapse that way. I do think there will be a lot of deflation in the NFT markets. What do you think about Immutable X? What about it? Tell me what you're thinking. Okay. First, layer 2 for NFTs. I'm actually not sure that claim is correct. Okay, so Immutable X claims to be the first layer 2 scaling platform, and their first blog post is in June 2021. Well, did you know? Let's see if this repo is public before I blow them up on Twitch. Here's Nightfall. Nightfall is also a layer 2 scalable NFT platform, and we've been doing this since 2019. But we're low-key like that. So yeah, no, Immutable X is not the first layer 2 for NFTs on Ethereum. We've been working on this plenty of years. They had no price activity history, so basically trading blind. We're talking about the UI. Yeah, you want to show the historical trades. You want to encourage activity. You want to allow people to, make big moves. Look at Rarible. Rarible's a good example here. So when you look on Rarible, you can see past trades on OpenSea. That doesn't cost them anything, and they had that on day one. So when you open it up, it will import the data from OpenSea to show you what's going on. So Rarible's got that figured out. Rarible, what I'm trying to say is that if you're going to be an NFT marketplace, you don't need to look down on yourself for being new. Don't do it. Come in there, make the best product you can, and just, hustle, and your money. You're just so money. I mean, if you can do these things, other people just aren't doing it. Other people haven't been studying this stuff. There's a lot left on the table. When you see what I'm seeing here for these marketplaces, you're like, yep, okay, this is how it's done. Yeah. Do chains like Solana have a future? I want to go all in on ETH, as it takes too much time to learn every chain, all the stuff that's out there when I'm making dApps. Yeah. So if you're Solana, if you're Near, I was talking to Near, they have NFTs. If you're anything other than Ethereum, you need to not underestimate how difficult it is to launch developer relations. When you say, why should I go study Solana? What you're saying is, I took the time to learn Ethereum, and it wasn't too bad. Why should I take the time to learn Solana? Why should I take the time to learn anything? Isn't it their fault for launching something that's not compatible with EVM? Yeah, it's their fault. If you went out there and you launched a new blockchain that's not compatible with EVM, you are responsible for doing all the developer relations that Ethereum Foundation did. Don't just go launch something that's a competitor to Ethereum and then leave out the whole part where you spend billions of dollars advocating for people to use your technical product. Not just the coins, not that there's you'll get rich by being a validator. Not that. The developers that are going to actually build stuff on your platform. Don't skip out on that. And don't just be like, oh, we're going to have a development fund where I'm thinking of a specific company in Boston where they're like, oh, we'll pay you to, join our blockchain, and they'll fund like specific projects. It's not the way to do it. You've got to bring in an entire community. Ethereum Foundation doesn't go out there and like, oh, we'll fund you to make Bored Apes on Ethereum instead of, Polygon, or Ethereum instead of Solana. They're not doing that. Ethereum has spent their time hosting workshops, getting speakers, making a community, and they got so much momentum that they got so much leverage out of that investment that it backfired a little bit. There's a lot of people in the Ethereum community that aren't getting funded by Ethereum anymore, and they're a little spiteful about that. So you'll see core devs on Ethereum that are like, why am I even doing this? Ethereum's not paying me, and this project's stupid. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of this feeling out there that they're contributing to the success, and they didn't really, they're not getting paid for it. And so I'm just saying that these type of problems, when you see Solana hiring people to manage community in a very large scale, and again, if the community is not running a validator node, actual community, that's when we should take it seriously. And it has to be better than Ethereum. You need a second mover advantage here. You can't just be copying Ethereum and like, we're going to be as good as them. No, you got to be better. You got to learn from their mistakes, and you got to launch a product that's better, because just like you're saying, why should I learn all these other chains? The answer is you shouldn't have to learn the other chains. It should be so damn easy that you click this button, the thing works, you understand it, you're onboarded quickly, and the experience is so smooth and flawless that the next time you go back to Ethereum, you're like, why is this so broken on Ethereum? Because there's a lot of seams broken on Ethereum. The projects are all made by different people. It's distributed. There's no leadership whatsoever. And use that against them. Make an advantage of your cohesion in your product. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the amount of investment from other people to take this seriously. The future is, it's going to be related to successful treasury management. How much treasury funds do they have? Are they able to deploy the funds successfully to building the ecosystem, the developer relations that they need to make this happen? Are they going to do that? I'm just curious because GameStop is going to work with Solana. I called GameStop. GameStop said we're going to do NFTs, and they didn't call me back. So I don't know who's calling to GameStop, but they didn't call me back, and so I'm just assuming they're not extremely serious. I'm just curious because GameStop is working with them. DAOs don't seem to work without a great amount of centralization. Of course, stocks don't work without a great amount of centralization. What is a stock? What is an equity? Equities are when you buy shares in a company and the company does something. Brief tirade. There is no decentralization. Blockchains are not decentralized. They're not decentralized. Nothing is decentralized except set theory. Set theory is the basis of math, and math is decentralized. Nothing else on Earth and life and the cosmos is decentralized. Everything is centralized. So the goal of centralization is not our goal. And maybe I have to make a blog because I've said this a few times. The goal of a blockchain is not decentralization. And remember, if you own Ethereum, there's a person in Russia that can just take your tokens at any time, and he's done it before. So go study the DAO fork, if you don't know about that. And this is a contentious statement, and I don't want to debate it. So I'll just tell you that you should study it, and I won't say that it's going to happen again, or I won't say much about what happened. So weird. We got a 2 ETH gas estimate a couple days ago. Oh, we're talking about two squares. If you got a 2 ETH gas estimate, then please check out the FAQ. Is that even still here? Why is gas cost redonkulously high? And that's probably because you tried to buy a square that is not available. So here's somebody trying to buy a Square that is not available. I think that's what we're talking about here for one Interabang. And Interabang is an exclamation point and a question mark together. Kai Kun, your mic is a bit static. It's been for the last couple of weeks. Well, I'm using the AirPods, and maybe I should use the wired version. I'm going to keep doing this. I mean, this has really helped me to engage. This helps me commit myself to stay engaged in this stuff. And I get a decent amount of questions on email and Twitter during the week. And so it's nice to invite those people to ask the questions here rather than me stopping work, stopping what I'm doing and answering questions throughout the week. It's nice I appreciate it's convenient for me, at least, to have everyone together once a week. And I might do a second hour a week. I do Origins, so that's after this, but I might do a second hour a week in Chinese for this event. If you speak Chinese and you're interested, let me know. For people who want to get paid to work on Web3 projects and eventually do it full-time, how would you suggest getting there? Open source projects, build space, ETH, global hackathons. What do you think about brain trust, gig-oriented model? Great question. So answering your question to Tedesco, yeah, so you definitely want to build up your GitHub. You definitely want to have articulable contributions that you've made, and I'll send you my homepage. So here's my homepage. I try to articulate my message of the things that I contribute to, trying to show you what it looks like when you put these on a page. And I'm looking for feedback here. I would like to make this better, but here's how I pitch myself. And you want to get to the point where you're pitching yourself the same way. That's how you're going to make these connections. So some of the things I've done, I have some code reviews here. So here's Erasure Bay. So here's a code review I did. Here it is. So there's a pull request. They had this new product version, and they brought me on board to review this pull request. And it's extensive. So here's, they paid a lot of money for this one GitHub comment. So here's the comment, and it's got all these findings and these documentation issues, and each one of those links to like a sub issue. This right here, I didn't even write any code for this. But anybody who sees this one comment I made on GitHub, which is extensive, they're going to be like, okay, this is someone that is eligible, for whatever job they're looking for. They're like, this person's serious. So again, you don't even need to write code to do this. So study this, study the other ones. You can make a PR review, you can leave comments. And if they're money like this, and again, I could have done this for free. I mean, I happen to charge money for this, but nothing's stopping me for just, delivering this for free and putting it on my resume. And it is on my resume. So here's my resume, here's my page. And so I link to that. I link to some other things. Here's another review. There's this network called Aeon. It's defunct. It's a Java blockchain. And I found quite a few issues with it. And I basically found a way to hack their tokens. So that's significant. If you are near, or if you are Ethereum Foundation and you see me doing this stuff, you're like, yep, that is relevant work experience. And I put it on here, I write schedules for the local train station. Like this is what I do in my free time. I write train schedules for fun. Like this is what I do. And they use them. They use my train schedules. And everything for me is open source. If I can write a letter to my transit authority and they'll just use my train schedules. I helped take down Philadelphia Traffic Court by analyzing, bias in their tickets. This is data analysis. This is blockchain analysis. All these skills are relevant. So I'm saying I'm always talking down the coding. Don't feel like, oh, I'm not like a master coder. I don't know how to optimize. Optimizing is all right. What matters is here, when you recognize a vulnerability that somebody can steal tokens on your blockchain, are you going to recognize that or are you not going to recognize it? Are you going to let it slip? So I recognize these things. I read deeply into these details and I find when your tokens are going to get hacked. I find in here and I find the game theory angle why your product is going to reach a condition you didn't expect. I improve train schedules. So you do these things, and that's enough. And again, none of these are code. My best achievements are non-code achievements. I make more money not coding than coding. But you say, how do you get started? Yeah, you code to get started. You write a few lines of code. You deploy. Deploying is more important than coding. And then you get to a point where as long as your money, as long as you look good, as long as you can deploy things, that is extremely, extremely important. So, summarizing, Tedesco, have a GitHub, make some contributions that you're proud of, collect those contributions somewhere onto a homepage or something where you can somehow explain your contribution to society. Do that, and then call me back. Because I definitely know people that are hiring every type of everything, for sure. Easiest thing is for us to just get your, I happen to know Tedesco, so I'm going to go the extra mile for you. I'll help other people too, but not as much as Tedesco. And so we'll get your homepage solid, and then I'll introduce you, or we'll get it to a point where you make this. You're going to make one tweet on Twitter. I'm going to retweet it to the right person, and not even because I know the person, just because your homepage is so good, they're going to hire you. Hackathons, again, I don't support that. Hackathons are it's more of a social thing, and I think they're exploitive. I think a lot of hackathons are just, I don't have money to build my product, so why don't I get a bunch of, competitive people to build it for me for free and not pay them unless it works? So I really look down on that because they're made as somebody, if they don't have money, they don't know what they want, and they're looking for something for free, and they host a hackathon, I look down on these people. If they are actively hiring, they're working with fun new technology. Nobody thinks that they're being cheap because they're funded. They're actually spending a lot of money on the hackathon by hosting a workshop at the same time with great speakers or giving stuff away to all participants. You get something like that, I look up at the hackathon. Gig models are great. I spent at least $1 million on Upwork. I've made not $1 million, but I've made a little bit on there. You have to be really experienced with gig work on both sides in order to be successful. A lot of gigs don't work out. So a lot of people don't specify the project clear enough, or they don't know what they want. And so then the delivery is made, but then they're asking for revisions. You don't want that. That's where all the problems happen. So you want to have clearly what you want, and you want to get that thing. What's up? Maybe I need to make a blog about the decentralization tirade. What are your thoughts about building a social app like Venmo for crypto? Social is interesting. Venmo is dangerous. So Venmo has a $300 limit for sending. So you should really understand that. You should really, really, really understand that thoroughly. Also remember, Venmo is made by PayPal. So think of the resources they have. Yeah, so Venmo for crypto sounds really cool. And depending on how you're distributing your app, you might have some regulatory issues or some, it takes a lot to, if you're in the business of sending money or allowing people to send money, take that seriously. Don't do that lightly. I've studied these rules. You want to have a lot of resources to start that type of project, or you really want to limit so you're under $300 or something like Venmo. So if you can stay under Venmo's limits and you're not creating a product that is overtly labeled as money laundering, like, hey, open this and send X amount of dollars across borders. You can't do that. You can't advertise a product that allows people to send $10,000 across borders without being registered. You just can't do that. Yes, other people have done that, and those people will get in trouble. Yeah, and don't look at other people and be like, oh, well, MetaMask is allowing people to send, this or that. Well, MetaMask has a lot of resources, and it's made by the same person, I think, who started OpenSea. And, California, a lot of times they just ignore the rules, but they at least have a lot of cash ready for lawyers to fight these things. Do you have a lot of cash ready for lawyers to fight these things? then if not, then you might not want to have as much exposure as OpenSea and MetaMask do. You might want to have a less exposed product. Yes. But yeah, no. Social app for like Venmo for crypto, absolutely. You're half Chinese and still learning crypto. Still learning. You're half Chinese and still learning Mandarin. Cool. Do it. My daughter's half Chinese. Do you know any good music that can help teach people about crypto or the facets around the culture? Yeah. So I think culture, I think that's one of the few things you will find on YouTube that is decent. YouTube, if you're asking anybody about anything about NFT or about coins, you are just going to get piles of shilling. And the videos are great, and they'll have a lot of views. They're robot views, or they're even organic views, because they have a lot of money to spend on a video that's going to help them shill an NFT or a token. Those videos are entirely unreliable. So they should be shut down by the FTC for shilling, the undisclosed commercial endorsement, and that's a shame. There's just none of it is even a little bit reliable. But if you look on YouTube for the culture of decentralized, or why should we care about the decentralized or the Web3 future, I think YouTube is a reliable place to read that type of stuff, just in general. I don't have a specific recommendation on who to look at. Cool. So sorry, I don't have a specific recommendation on this stuff. But I think you won't have a problem. You can be naive and just click on things and usually have good experiences with these people. Kelechi, mom. Yeah. Huh? So, for .NET, should create it. What are we creating? Foundry versus Hardhat. I use Hardhat. Hardhat is built into Solidity template. So, this is a. Okay. Someone else is doing the same thing as me. Cool. So on Twitch, I don't know if you can like throw emojis on my screen, but if you can, Ella will love that right now. She loves to see emojis. I don't know if this has like a stickers feature, but that'd be awesome. So here's my board for this, and I use Hardhat. I think it's great. I've read through it. It's got a nice setup. Foundry. Let's talk about Foundry. Cool, Foundry. Here we go. Blazing Fast Portable Modular Toolkit for Ethereum app dev, written in Rust. No website. That's no website, really? I mean, already. I mean, this might be cool, but the problems that we have in this community is not that we need a development toolkit. The problem we have is that we need leadership and explanations of things. So the fact that this project doesn't have a website is already like, whoa. So it might be cool and we might use this stuff, but we need to build a lot more to educate people on how to use these things. So I guess they got a nice little video here, running tests. That looks fast if that's how fast it's running. If it's going in parallel. I hate this. It's so stupid. All right. I got two red flags here. One, they don't have a website, and two, they want me to shell